Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pepito Live Costa Rica. Our show today will review some of the latest updates on travel conditions and requirements to visit Costa Rica within this COVID context. One of our guests today, attorney Marcela Gurdian, and the immigration expert, will review some of these updates with us. She's doing a quick little visit for us today here. And then our special guest will be Phil Eitman, who is a cut the crap style of insurance broker who will share some light again with you on the COVID insurances for Costa Rica, and then we'll also share some of the other products he is offering to the general public. Before we continue, we want to make sure people understand that our guests on our show are all welcome because of their expertise. We have no business association with none of our guests, none whatsoever. Therefore, no lucrative arrangements for us. Our show is solely a nonprofit venture, and our objective, of course, is always to bring you some of the best expertise around to answer some of your questions. Also, amigos, if you haven't had the opportunity to subscribe to our show via our YouTube channel, now is the time to do so. You could go and click the subscribe button. One of the reasons why we encourage people to do that, of course, is because via YouTube, you will be able to, of course, get some reminders and also review all of our past shows and all of its content that is actually in the descriptive portion of the video on YouTube. So now is the time. Press that subscribe button. You could also share the show with some of your family and friends, anybody who you believe may have an interest in the show. Also, amigos, this show is meant to be interactive. So wherever you are watching the show from, you could go in the comment section, whether it's via YouTube or via Facebook. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. We will present those questions to our guests. Also, feel free to make any comments. Send us some greetings, salutations, or whatsoever. So, amigos, let's have fun. So now, without any more hesitation, let's bring our first guest to the show, Marcela Gurdian. Marcela, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Pepito, for inviting me again.
You're
I'm happy
welcome.
to help.
It's always a pleasure for us to have an immigration expert with us on the show, and you're the person.
Thank you, Eve.
Also, yes. Also, our next guest is Phil. Hi, Phil Eitman. He is with us right from Tamarindo today. Hello, salutations, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Hello. Okay, hola. Phil, we present as being, I call him the cut the crap insurance broker because he tells it as he sees it, and we really appreciate that. That's one of the reasons we have him on the show. Marcela, we're going to start with you. And first of all, what we're going to do right now, we're going to do a quick review on some of the updates in terms of the people who have expectations in terms of wanting to come to visit Costa Rica. We know people are getting, a little bit anxious right now. Tourist season is coming. A lot of people are back home in Canada or the States and want to prepare. And there's a lot of confusion out there in terms of what the information is. So that's why we have both you and Phil on the show to provide people with your expertise. So Marcela, what you have for us in terms of any new update for us this week?
Okay, Pepito, it is really important to tell everybody that what we are talking today may change tomorrow. Remember last week we were talking Wednesday, and I told everybody, be aware that the rules may change, and they change one day after. So now we have new states authorized to enter Costa Rica, and from United States, we have additional states that will be able to enter Costa Rica starting September 1st and September 15th. Okay, so people who are residing in those states maybe are able to come to Costa Rica. They have to show that they have an ID or a driver license. And the new states are Maryland, Virginia, Columbia. They will be able to enter Costa Rica starting September 1st. And by September 15, we will have Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Colorado. Okay.
Excellent.
And another change is that those people who are entering Costa Rica, they have to bring the COVID test. Before, they had to show that they had the test done 48 hours before the arrival to Costa Rica, but now they extend the period to 72 hours. Do you remember that we mentioned that in the last show, that they may gonna change the period, and they already did?
Absolutely. So that's very good news. So we're gaining one 24-hour, we're gaining one whole day, which
Exactly.
may make a difference for certain people.
Exactly. But if it is important to that people knows that it is the PCR test. If they don't bring the PCR test, they won't be able to enter Costa Rica. We had a recent case in Facebook. Everybody knew about the Spanish guy that tried to enter Costa Rica with his mother. The mother was 80 years old, and she didn't bring the test. It was just a quick test. It was not the PCR test. And unfortunately, it is the law. I mean, we have to respect the law, and they were not able to enter Costa Rica. And they came all the way from Madrid to Costa Rica, and because they didn't complete the requirements, they were not able to enter, Pepito. And we also mentioned that the airlines, Pepito, they just want to sell tickets. They don't verify the requirements because they want to sell tickets. So it is important to verify the requirements directly with a lawyer, with someone in Costa Rica, but don't trust the airlines, because at the airport we have so many people who are rejected because they don't bring the requirements to enter Costa Rica, Pepito. Okay, so also, I mean, Costa Rica is a small country, but we don't have a very good communication between government entities. So maybe ICT, they want to do something, but immigration officers at the airport, they don't know what ICT wants to do. So it is important to verify all the requirements and comply with all of the requirements before you come to Costa Rica. Someone has a resident, someone who has the residency in Costa Rica, they are supposed to show immigration officers at the airport that they have Caja up to date. So if they don't have Caja up to date, they won't be able to enter Costa Rica. So what's happening? That if a foreigner is not living in Costa Rica, if a resident is not living in Costa Rica 6 months, and the other 6 months he is staying in Costa Rica, he doesn't have to pay Caja when he is not in Costa Rica. But what happens? Caja becomes inactive. And to reactivate Caja, the resident has to be in Costa Rica. Imagine. So Caja was not aware of that situation. So I am trying to help foreigners, I mean residents, to enter Costa Rica. So if they have a pending debt with Caja, Caja is willing to accept the payment, and they will reactivate Caja for them, and they will be able to enter Costa Rica. And they need to have Caja. They cannot buy INS, they cannot buy another medical insurance. If they are residents or if they are Costa Rican, they have to show Caja payment up to date. So it is important. Also, if I think that there is a confusion within people, because I mean, they are talking about the possibility to enter Costa Rica from a country that is not authorized, but that's not true. What happens is, if you're coming from New York, New York is a state that is authorized, but then you have to make a stop in Panama. Panama is a country that is not authorized. So if you stop in Panama just for transit and you don't go out of the airport, then you will be able to enter Costa Rica, even if the last step was an authorized country. So it's not that you are able to come from Panama directly. Only if you're making transit in Panama and you don't go out of the airport, you will be able to enter Costa Rica.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's normal. There is a little confusion between people.
Yes. Telisino, do we have any questions for Marcela? At the moment, we have a question, Marcela, before you leave. Steve here says, I went to a clinic today and they told me it takes 48 to 72 hours to get the results. So it means I have to take the test earlier than the 72 hours. And this person is actually in Quebec.
Yes, I know, Steve. I'm sorry. Yes, some people, even if they extend the 72 hours, I mean, if the government extends the test to 72 hours, it's still difficult to get the result within the 72 hours. I know that in Canada, some people, they pay a lot of money to get the result in 48 hours, but it's a lot of money, like $800 to get the result in a short time.
Here's somebody just sent me a question privately, Marcela. They said, will they accept the proof of a test via, for example, a cell phone, or you need to have a certified document?
No, you can show it in your cell. Remember that it has to be in English, Spanish, or if it's in French, it has to be translated to Spanish, and then they need the official translation.
Perfecto. Okay. Okay. So, well, those are a little bit of better news, Marcela. I guess we're going to stay tuned to see if there's more progress being done this week, right?
This week, I doubt it. Maybe next week they will update the states. And as I told you before, I guess that, I mean, we will be open to US very soon. I mean, as long as they bring the COVID test and it's negative, Costa Rican government is willing to, I mean, they want to accept people from US.
Okay. Yes, of course. I just want to mention to people, because I know there are some francophones listening. Je sais qu'il y a des francophones qui sont à l'écoute. Bref, ce que nous venons de publier, en fait, dans le fil de communication, dans le chat, à travers Pepito Live Costa Rica, les autres plateformes, à travers YouTube, tout ça, on a publié un lien en français qui est un excellent résumé de toutes les mises à jour, les conditions de voyage pour le Costa Rica en français. Un texte qui a été rédigé de façon très efficace par Roxane Ducharme et elle nous a donné la permission de le publier. Donc, s'il y a des francophones à l'écoute, allez voir dans la section chat et aussi nous allons publier ce lien effectivement également dans le descriptif de l'émission dans YouTube à compter de demain matin. Okay, so I'm going to bring Phil in. I'm going to unmute your mic. Phil, welcome back. Yes, Marcela, do you have anything else you would like to share?
I'm gonna keep you informed. So if there are some news, I will let you know, and I can see you again next Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday if we have some news.
Excellent. There's a question here. Pets? There's a question here from a lady. Do pets need to be tested? And then Phil, we're gonna go follow up with your question.
No, they don't need to be tested.
Okay. And there's also a question from, I guess I see a comment from Caroline Canning, but she says some people say it's difficult actually to get tested in 72 hours, but we understand that, but we were 48 hours, now we're 72. So like you were saying, this is an ever-changing condition. I think the government is recognizing the importance of tourism in Costa Rica.
Yes,
and as we're moving along, they're doing all the efforts they can so that they could open the country to tourism in the most efficient and safe way possible.
Exactly.
So, okay. So do animals need to be tested? The answer to that is no. Animals do not need to be tested. Okay, Phil, you have a question.
Oh shit.
He's having
We're
technical
back.
issues.
Sorry. Storm here, so things are on and off. Yeah, I asked the question of, if you come as a tourist and then you're here, can you then apply for residency and not have to leave?
Of course, of course.
But the
I mean,
office is not open for immigration yet, right?
Okay, that's important. I mean, if you come right now, we are September. Immigration is supposed to open September 21. But I mean, this week we will know if they will open. I guess they won't open in September, but it's going to be officially confirmed this week. So
okay, because a lot of families are coming down here to move, but they're coming as a tourist, and
yes,
they won't have to leave after 90 days, except for the driver's license.
Exactly, Phil. As long as immigration opens, hopefully they will open during 2020. If someone enters Costa Rica now, September, October, November, they will be able to stay until December. Okay. So they will be able to file a residency application and they don't have to leave.
Mm-hmm. Also, in the last show, Marcela, we talked extensively about the 90-day and border runs and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
We did a little clip. With that portion of last show that's actually available on YouTube. So we're going to put the link. It's going to be right up here. And people who watch the video as of tomorrow will be able to review just that portion of the clip without us having to repeat everything in that sense today.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcela, thank you very much for being with us today. Okay, we'll see you again very soon, we hope. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Phil.
Okay, so it's kind of funny you said cut the crap, insurance broker. Most people say just ask Phil. I should change my website to askphil.com, but I'll change it to askphil. He cuts the crap.com.
Well, I like that. Because...
See, I'm originally from New Jersey, so and we pretty straightforward people. So, and I've been here 15 years and been an insurance broker for 10 years. Issued almost 2,000 policies, almost all of them to expats that have moved here.
Yes.
I've seen everything. I've been through everything. I've gone through all the process myself. And I know how to make it and live in this country, this great, beautiful country. So
absolutely.
Especially like one thing I'll tell people, if you expect to do 10 things today, if you get one thing done, be happy, Pura Vida. If you want things like they are in the States, then go back to the States. It's a lifestyle here. But when the insurance, to me, there's no room for, crap, basically. You have to be right. You have to be accurate. You have to be serious about it because people's assets and lives depend on your decision. And especially people moving to this country, they kind of look for you for everything. You're the point of contact, and being that I went through the process is very helpful. So I just wanted to start off. I guess you want to talk about.
Well, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about travel insurance, about COVID insurance, and before Teresino, I think there's a comment from Carolyn. She's asking a question about quarantine. I just want to there's a question there. I'll answer that. It says it comes from Carolyn Canning, and it says, "Is it necessary to quarantine upon arrival?" And Carolyn, the beauty of these tests, is that no, you don't have to quarantine. And that's the reason why the government are requesting that. So that when you arrive in Costa Rica, you're welcome to start enjoying your stay and your holiday and start having fun, and don't worry about that. Of course, do it in a very safe way, but quarantine is not necessary if you have the COVID test, of course. Okay, another question here. I'm coming in November. What do I do for my 90 days? What do I do for my 90 days? Of course.
Have a good time.
Yeah, have a good time. Yeah, take some tours, enjoy, see the beaches, see the wonders of Costa Rica. And thumbs up from Carolyn. Thank you for your question. So, okay, Phil, here's my first question. Okay, so we're talking about these COVID insurance. What exactly are the requirements? So what exactly needs to be covered in these COVID insurances?
Well, I'm going to answer directly the insurance part
Cut
of
the
the
crap.
requirements
Cut
to
the
come to
crap.
Costa Rica. Just to give you a little history, you can understand how it's working.
Yes.
Costa Rica, when they opened up, wanted to make sure everybody who came to visit as a tourist had some type of insurance that would cover them in the hospital if they got COVID, and also if they needed a place to stay, if they got quarantined and they got stuck here because they were now had COVID. There were very few programs out there like that. So INS, the quasi-government agency, came up with a program to provide that, which was hideously expensive. So after a lot of pressure, they came up with some cheaper programs.
So INS, just to make sure, Phil, people understand, INS is the public insurance that's...
so it's a private insurance sponsored by the government, I think is the correct way to say it. As an insurance broker, I offer them for many years. I offer every company down here. And they're not the most simplest company to work with, put it lightly. So they came up with this program. It's very expensive. A lot of pressure made them come up with a cheaper program. And what's unique about this program is they cover $2,000 of accommodations. So if you're stuck and you can stay in a hotel for 14 days or something like that. Most of the travel policies out there, in fact, all of them, don't cover accommodation. And that's the problem, that you have to buy this INS policy. They have since, according to the tourism, ICT, which is tourism agency, has informed us that if you have proof that you own a home and you're traveling like as a family and your wife has a marriage certificate and your kids have the same name and a passport, you could use any travel insurance as long as you have proof of ownership of your home with you, because you don't need that accommodation. I don't know if immigration and ICT, the tourist agency, are really communicating with each other that well. So I'm a little nervous about people counting on that when they enter the airport with their own travel insurance. So if you're coming as a tourist and you're here for 90 days or 60 days or 2 weeks, I would still suggest to contact us and buy the INS travel insurance that you need, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being very transparent about that. And you know, and I've saw that same email, you shared it with me. And in fact, that's the policy of ICT, which is the Tourism Institute. But like Marcela was saying also earlier, sometimes, you know, the left hand doesn't talk very well with the right hand here in Costa Rica. So better be on the safe side.
Yeah, with the 90-day, regarding the 90-day requirement, in order to come to Costa Rica, you have to leave every 90 days. You can only stay as a tourist for a maximum of 90 days. At that point, they would like you to apply for residency or become a person who actually lives here. Yes. So there's a restriction of a maximum of 90 days. That's why you hear that term a lot. And I'm glad you brought it up, because people will go on these websites and Facebook groups and they will find information that, oh, I own a home, I don't need it. Well, I think the school's a little bit out if everybody at the airport actually knows that. So waiting a little bit. And also, if you're coming like in 2 months or 1 month, as low as 1 month, I'd wait. Let's see how it develops. That might not be an accommodation anymore, because you know, if people are traveling here, usually they have $2,000. Most people, to put on a credit card in order to get a hotel accommodation.
Yeah.
So
you were saying on the last show it takes 2 days to process the insurance, right? 2-3 days. So there's no rush to do it right now.
Even less.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you had to do it, you could probably do it the same day. I just think that I get calls from people thinking about coming in January for 5 months or coming for every winter. I say just wait. Let's see what happens in another month, because it started out with 0, then became very harsh, and now it's getting looser as every week goes by.
Yes. So we have a question from Sue here. It says, I meant to, what do I do when my 90 days are up? I will be there for 5 months. Now, Sue, if you're coming in for 5 months, your visa right now, as it stands, your visa stamp expires in 90 days. So there's 2 things. And we've talked extensively about that last week. That video is actually available on our YouTube channel with all the details. Marcela talked about it in detail last week. You could review that. We're going to put the link up here somewhere in the video again, so people could actually see it. Now, your visa is only good for 90 days. If you overstay your 90 days, two things: you could actually find a way to leave and come back, or you could decide to stay. If you decide to stay, then you're taking a risk because your stay is becoming illegal here, actually, in Costa Rica. So your driver's license is not valid anymore, and that kind of stuff. Because, like Marcela was saying last week, it does not appear, that's what we were talking about last week, it does not appear so far that we will be able to be doing border runs to Nicaragua or Panama this year. So it's wait and see. But as it stands now, there's no legal stay beyond 90 days possible in Costa Rica as we're speaking today. Another question: what would a proof of ownership be? That's a legal question also.
I would say ask your attorney that was your attorney when you bought your property.
Yeah.
Probably a copy of the deed, probably the corporate papers, a
Yeah.
certification of ownership, shareholder certification of the corporation that your property's in. But
Exactly.
I would get that from your attorney.
And another question here from T. Sorensen. Is the requirement to have $50,000 coverage? The inns quoted for only $20,000 when we checked with them. There's a good question.
I couldn't hear you, cut out.
Yeah, the gentleman was saying that the medical coverage, as it stands, correct me, Phil, if I'm wrong, it needs to be $50,000 US, right?
They lowered that requirement to a cheaper program. So if you got a quote for 20,000, I don't have all the quotes in front of me. That's probably true.
Okay.
Because they had a very expensive program, then they lowered the one has 20.
Okay.
We give you options to get the cheapest one.
Okay, so there may be different options there out there. Perfect. Okay, so now you feel you provide some options from the semi-private government sectors, where it's the inns, and there's another company in Costa Rica also, and then there's all the other private companies out there, right? Hello, can you hear us?
I heard Dan, you said something.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, perfect. What I'm saying is that in the insurance groups, there's two categories. There's the government or semi-private sector, and also there's the private sector, which is totally private. So you offer quotes, or you offer, options from those both sectors, inns and totally private sector, right?
Yeah, let me go through all
Yes.
the programs quickly. The only public insurance is from the CAHA. That's the government public insurance. The INS is technically a private insurance. We don't offer the CAHA. I really don't think anybody should really count on the CAHA for their extreme medical care. There's about 8-9 years ago, through CAFTA, the Central American Free Trade Agreement, they opened up the market to private insurance companies. There's now about 12 of them. They insure employees, they insure corporations. They insure fire insurance. Like we insure hundreds of homes for fire insurance, cars. So first, let me just talk about the cars. There's about 3 or 4 companies that offer car insurance. Over the years, we decided to work with the ones that are the best with claims. That's really what it's about. Who's the easiest with claims? Who's going to answer the phone on a weekend that speaks English? We usually tell everybody to call us, but you can also speak to the car companies. They work pretty good. I get a flat tire, they come and change it. You're stuck on the road somewhere, they'll come and do this. The claim process is a little bit more slower than you might find in North America, but it takes time, but it gets done, and it works pretty good. I never had any accidents in the U.S., but here there's a lot of things that happen because of the roads mostly, and some people don't know how to drive. So as a ballpark, if you're going to buy a car for around $20,000, your insurance is probably going to cost about $1,000 a year. That should give you an idea, plus or minus $100 or so. And that'll give you roadside service, collision, if the car is stolen, which has happened. If you loan somebody your truck and they flip it over and total it, it'll be covered like somebody I did. I almost cut my insurance because I'm a good driver. And I lent it to somebody and he totaled my truck. So I'm like, it's good to have insurance. Mm-hmm. And if you get down to about a $5,000, $7,000 car, it's better just to get, say, third-party liability and a roadside service. And that costs like $200 a year or something like that. It's pretty generic. All the companies are about the same. I kind of stick with the companies to give the best service. That's really what it comes down to.
So we
the
have
best service.
Go ahead.
Is there a difference in the cost of insurance between a young and old person? No.
Yes.
I don't know who's more likely to get into an accident, but the insurance is the same. Keep in mind, if you drive a car illegally in the country, your insurance is not valid. That's a person who's under 18 is not valid. They don't have a valid license in Costa Rica. If you extend past 90 days, your driver's license is not legal in Costa Rica. So that makes your insurance invalid. If you're driving through a river, your insurance is not valid.
I think the question maybe had to do with the COVID insurance. That's what I'm thinking here because Mr. St-Amand here is a tourist. So in terms of the COVID insurance, is there a difference? I think last week you shared like one example. Could you give us a little bit of an insight what COVID insurance could look like?
Hang on one second. I had it here. Give me a second.
Yes. OK. Alors, merci, Monsieur St-Amand, pour votre question. Et merci aussi de regarder l'émission. Thank you for watching the show, André. And we're going to dig up a few numbers here just to provide people with some a little bit of an insight what some of the costs may look like for the insurance coverage for COVID.
Okay.
I think you had a couple of age bracket there, Phil.
Yeah, it's how old are you? You're asking the question, young or old. What's your age?
Yeah, well, let's start with 55.
Okay.
I'm 55.
I sent it to you today. Let me see. I thought I did. Hang on. I'm sorry. The internet and the power is all out.
Okay, what I had here, Phil, what you sent to me.
Do you have what I sent you?
I had like for 40 years old. Okay, for 2 weeks was $131. This is what you sent me, and then for 90 day for someone 40 years old was $233. And then
was there somebody older? No?
Yeah, well, then you gave me 55, and then for 55 years old, which is not quite your age, Monsieur St-Amand, but 180 for 2 weeks. And we're talking US dollars, of course, and 306 for 90 days. So we could see as
46 to 70 is the same.
Okay.
So that's his age. That's his cost.
OK. So alors, André, votre coût pour 2 semaines serait $180 et $306 pour 3 mois. Et ces prix-là seraient applicables jusqu'aux gens de 70 ans. Right up to 7 years old, everybody will have the same price. This is what you're telling me.
Right.
OK, perfect.
That's today.
Oh, that's today. Yeah, of course. Everything is always today.
At 5:36 Costa Rica time.
Mañana otra cosa. Sí. Okay. Now, what is the best way, Phil, to get in contact with you?
I think the easiest way is Phil at all506.com.
Okay, we're going to put that on the screen right over here, Phil at all506.com. And there's your phone number also.
I'd like to mention 2 other types of insurance real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
If you don't mind. Okay,
Absolutely.
home insurance, fire, earthquake, full coverage. So you get an idea what that costs. It's about $200 per 100,000 of construction per year. So if your house has $300,000 in construction value, it's going to cost you about $600 a year.
Perfect.
Excellent. And then just a note on private health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Difference is from the public, you get private doctors, private hospitals, air ambulances, ground ambulances. Choose any private hospital. If you have international coverage, you can elect to go anywhere in the world. If you're from the U.S., the health insurance and international insurance costs about a third of what it costs in the U.S., and you could have coverage in the U.S. So, God forbid you got cancer in Costa Rica, you can elect to go to the U.S. to do that. Yeah. So, and for the Canadians there on this YouTube, they're not used to paying for insurance. They just pay high taxes. And so it's a little bit of a sticker shock to pay for private insurance when they come to Costa Rica. But there are some plans that really are catered for Canadians that don't have much U.S. coverage. Mm-hmm. But it's good to have extra coverage. First of all, it's good to have private health insurance because you have access to the private hospitals and you never have to wait for anything. Whereas if you have the public health care in Canada, or even some people in UK, they have public health care, but they still buy private health insurance. So you don't have to wait for any operation. You don't have to wait for anything. That's real important when it comes to an international country, into Costa Rica, and where if you're in an area like Costa, where I am, an air ambulance is something good to have.
Thank you for sharing that. Another question here from Rainer Webb. What about the 70 years old? Mr. Webb, I'm going to repeat the price. We had mentioned for the COVID insurance that the price for 2 weeks holiday would be $180 US.
Well, he's asking about over 70.
After 70, yeah. So right up to 7306. And then after, Phil?
Email me.
Okay.
Email me, I'll get you a quote.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yes.
We have to generate a quote.
No, we appreciate that. And another question here from Bill. How long do you think the COVID insurance requirement will remain in place? Well, that's a good question, amigos, but as long as I think the situation doesn't really change. And
February 17th, 3:00.
That's your personal. I'm not gonna put a time frame on that.
No, it's until most people in the world don't have it anymore.
Yes.
I mean, the big requirement is if you're getting tested before you get on the plane. So there'll probably always be that requirement because you can get sick. I think, in a lot of countries do have a requirement that you purchase travel insurance before you get there. Mm-hmm. They've always have. Costa Rica never did. They may keep that requirement anyway, even though COVID may subside, just so people are here, so they don't go to the public hospital and with anything serious.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Phil. Anything else you want to add before we actually wrap up for today? And we want to thank you for being here and sharing your expertise with us. We invite you to come back again in the future. Maybe we could go in other types of insurance even more into details, invite people to ask questions and stuff. Anything else you feel that you want to share with the people watching the show?
No, I think that pretty well does it. If you're interested in those types of insurance, then we can go into more detail.
Absolutely.
But it's those are the big ones to have, those big three.
We're happy to have you on the show, basically, because as a resource person, the reason why we are, like we said, happy to present you to the people out there is because it's a one step, one shop, one phone call to make, and you get all the information. You know Costa Rica well, you know the requirements. You cut the crap, you say it as it is, and the people appreciate that. And any other messages, Telecino, before we wrap up? Linda Cyr, merci beaucoup de nous tenir au courant. Encore une fois, pour les francophones, nous avons mis un lien dans le fil de commentaires. Rainer says, great info, you guys. Keep it coming. We were going to do some more of these COVID update shows, of course, with Marcela. Maybe Phil will be happy to come back again. And so thank you for joining us, Phil, and we'll talk to you very soon. Okay, amigo? And
okay.
Take care and stay safe.
Ciao, pura vida.
Pura vida, amigos. Okay, thank you, amigos, for watching the show. Once again, we remind you, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, please subscribe to our channel. make sure you click that little button. You could also click that little bell. That would give you some reminders to the show. And please share with your friends. And we hope you're going to be with us again on the next show. We're going to have more COVID updated shows coming very, very soon. So keep in touch and stay with us. Muchísimas gracias para todo y hasta luego, amigos.